What's up, everybody? It's Jasmine here with another episode of A Girls Podcast. Today I wanted to talk about, one big thing really, which is my recent doctor's appointment. By recent, I mean it literally happened 1 hour ago, so I don't know why I'm making it sound like it's some sort of past event that I've been thinking about for a while, because that's not what it's like. But before we get into it, I wanted to thank somebody who I think might be watching it. I won't name names, but they'll know who they are. But anyway, the first person to buy one of my little postcard prints of my artwork on my Etsy shop. I'll have a link in the description down below to my Etsy shop. But anyway, so somebody, before I even posted my latest podcast with the link in it, they bought it. So I don't even know how they found it or they found me, but thank you so much. You know who you are. It made me feel really good. First of all, I was panic because it was 3 o'clock in the morning and I was like, man, how am I going to get this out? How long do I have? Oh, so scared, just really scared that I couldn't do it, even though it's just getting the card, putting it in the envelope, making sure it's not likely to bend and things like that. Not difficult at all, but anxiety brain was flipping out. But anyway, so it's all sent, it's on the way, and I'm pretty sure that it's one of my very supportive followers, so thank you very much. Hopefully it arrives to you safely, and if there's any problems, just send me a message and I'll sort it out. So after that we can go back to my little doctor story. Is it even a story? It doesn't really have a start, middle and end, but whatever. So today I went to the doctor's for the first time as outpatient treatment. So if you've been watching previous episodes, you will know that I was in a psychiatric ward for, was it 5 days? Something like that. And that was because I was having a lot of anxiety constantly, and then I was also experiencing panic attacks. And if you're somebody who experiences panic attacks, you wouldn't necessarily have to go and stay in a psychiatric ward. That isn't something that everybody needs. So don't feel weird or ashamed if you haven't been in. I don't know why you would, but your anxiety and panic attacks are just as valid, right? But anyway, so the reason why I had to go in was because when I have panic attacks, maybe not the first time, but if it's happening more and more, then I really, 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 really want to die. So I, start experiencing depression and suicidal ideation, and I start to make little plans and things like that. So anyway, it spirals down. So but instead of putting any plans into action or doing anything silly, I contacted people, and they, got me out of there and put me in they took me to the psychiatric hospital, and then I was signed in. What do you even call that in English? In Swedish, inskriven. What is that in English? I don't know. I don't use English enough these days. But anyway, so now I have been out for about a month, and once you leave inpatient treatment, that's right, it's called inpatient, going inpatient. Once you leave inpatient treatment, you should be given outside support. So that'd be contact with a doctor, a psychiatric specialist. And then you might be given therapy sessions. I hope everybody's getting therapy sessions. And all sorts of, following up on medication and things like that. So that's what I've been waiting for. I got the appointment straight away, as in I got the notification that I have an appointment, but it was for 1 week down the line. Now, obviously, this is, I think, quite normal. It's kind of sad that it takes that long, but, I guess that's what the healthcare system is like. So, I finally had my appointment. Been looking forward to it because there's been I've had, questions about medication and things like that and future plans. And then also the other thing is that in order to be given therapy sessions, you first have to meet that doctor. So you have to wait 1 month to meet the doctor, to then wait more months to then start going into therapy. What is this? But anyway, so I go to the doctor and I was kind of not really sure what to expect. First of all, I thought that I was meeting a female doctor by the name, but it wasn't, so that's my bad. So I went in and it was this, male doctor, and I knew that I had to bring up if I'm going to be getting therapy or not. But he sort of, what did we even really talk about? I mean, so he asked a little bit about, I guess why I was there. So I just gave him the rundown, that I was in the hospital because of my panic attacks, and now I'm out, and blah, blah, blah. And then he was pretty quick to understand, because one of the things that I've experienced is that when I tell doctors or nurses or whatever that when I have panic attacks, I feel like I want to die, they often try to explain to me that, people, when they have panic attacks, they feel like they are going to die. And I'm like, no, it's not that. I know I'm not going to die, unfortunately. So usually I have to, explain that, and it's kind of this thing, oh, that's a bit different. But, he got it straight away, and super easy, super breezy. And then he just sort of lifted off the medication that I'm on, and then we just started talking about New Zealand. It was pretty strange, not a whole bunch of mental health stuff, but he was asking, he asked me where I came from and what brought me to Sweden, and if I thought Sweden was better than New Zealand. And then he sort of did his own analysis of if New Zealand was better than Sweden or not. He landed on that kind of the same reason why I am in Sweden, which is that it's easier to travel to other countries from Sweden. And then I really felt man, he's basically like me if I was this older male doctor. I was man, we are on the same wavelength. Because the other thing was that he had a Tesla keyring around his neck, and I was man, I would love a Tesla, electric cars, hell yes. So I really felt this doctor was my spirit doctor. Anyway, so it went, the appointment went way smoother than expected. So he then looked through what medications had to be renewed, and obviously when you go to doctors, I feel in Sweden and New Zealand, there's sort of more a reluctance to prescribe, lots of medication, because, there are good reasons to not go around prescribing lots of medication. People can get into the habit of using it too often, or, becoming addicted. Especially when you're talking about sleeping pills, they have a known history of being addictive and trying to get back to, trying to be able to sleep by yourself is kind of the goal, right? But to my surprise, he was renew that. I didn't even have to say anything. I was damn, this is pretty crazy. I didn't even have to explain why I think that I would need it or not. It was so I don't really know if that's a good thing or a bad thing or not, but it was super easy. And then of course we talked about the antidepressants that I'm on, which is sertraline. What's that in the normal English one? something. It's a pretty common one these days. Yeah, anyway, I'll put a little thing in the video. Anyway, so the plan is that... Okay, so first of all, he asked me if I thought that we should increase it or not. So the thing was is that when I was in the psychiatric ward as an inpatient, the doctor there, he put me on sertraline, and he said, like, I'll start you off at a really low dose so that you don't get a lot of the negative side effects, such as increased anxiety, and increased depressive feelings and suicidal feelings. Like, that's a really common side effect when you start antidepressants, which is really unfortunate. So having that in mind, that he said that he had started off really low, then I kind of felt like, we should maybe move it up, because, like, if I can have even less anxiety, like, that would be like a really cool thing. So he agreed, and he said, basically, I'm on 25 milligrams now, but that we will increase it to a level of 100 milligrams. And he said that, like, the top level is 200 milligrams, but that I wouldn't need that. So that sounds like a good plan. I did think that it was kind of interesting that to kind of decide on a level instead of, like, increasing it and then seeing how that goes and then maybe increasing it again. But I wonder if that is because that would require more doctor's appointments. It would require, increasing it a little bit, trying that for like a month, me going back, maybe increasing it another month, going back. And it kind of seemed like they don't want to see me that much, or like to not see anyone that much. So maybe a little bit concerning about that. But I guess, like, if you have a lot of people that need appointments, then you don't want to be, like, clogging up the system with, I guess quite easy cases. Like, mine is quite an easy case, right? Like, it's just your standard general anxiety disorder, I guess, is what the diagnosis would be, although I don't think I have a formal diagnosis. So, it's not like I've got a quite complicated illness like bipolar or schizophrenia, where it can be really difficult to get the right medications. Or, I mean, even a case of like clinical depression, that can be even more complicated than just, what I'm experiencing. Like, if you have treatment-resistant depression, I mean, that would be really difficult. So, I could imagine that they just want to, like, put this plan in place so that they don't, have me clogging up the system when there's people with, that need more time, basically. So I can understand that. So then, once we talked about the medication, I guess I didn't even really say anything. He just sort of did it. Then I was thinking, like, I have to bring up if I'm going to get therapy or not. And I was like, I don't know if I could say it. I don't know. But then he ended up bringing it up. So it was obvious that he's got, like, my file up, and that there's, the note from the inpatient treatment where they said that they recommend that I get therapy. So then he's like, yeah, we'll set you up, get you a time to see a therapist. And then he explained that, the goal is that I'll be able to handle the anxiety by myself and not need medication, etc., etc. Yeah, which sounds really good. Like, that's definitely what I aim to do. It's just that, unfortunately, when events happen and I'm in a situation where there's a really big unknown and I don't feel like there's control, then it just sort of builds up and explodes, really. So that's the plan, really. So I just had to sit back, and I'll be given a time to see a therapist, and then also in September I'll be going back and seeing the doctors after following the plan of increasing the sertraline medication, the antidepressant, which also works as an anti-anxiety. So that is the plan. I think that it sounds pretty good. I do have another little tidbit to talk about in regards to getting emotional support, psychological, social support as well. I was recommended by a colleague to contact this sort of organization that helps young women like myself to get to a better place in life, to sort of give them counseling and direction, and that's something that I don't really know if I need as much as other people. So when I called them up, I sort of thought, the risk is that I don't get help from them because I'm not as lost as other people my age, right? But I called them up, and what actually ended up being was that I have kind of been not given help because my problems are too big. But so that was, a big kind of shock to me, because when I sort of think about my situation, like I don't think that it's really that bad. Like I mean I have secrets that I don't tell people about because I know that it's kind of complicated and not necessarily like the best life situation, but I still don't really think that I'm in that big need of a help. But obviously these people felt completely different to how I felt. But although I said that they were, that the request was rejected, I will still be getting a form of support from them. So basically, what would happen if I met the criteria would be that I would, be sort of given this figure who would talk to me and kind of, I guess, coach me and get me to, a good place where I can like stand on my own 2 feet and, do lots of stuff and feel confident and, have a sort of plan for life, basically. But because of the anxiety issues and I guess the sort of deeper psychological issues, they requested that I seek sort of therapeutic help from the public mental health care system, but they did say that I would be offered sort of like group contact with like other women my age. So I guess it's like meeting up, and I mean, I don't really know, but like it kind of sounds pretty good, right? Like meeting other people my age who are also, struggling with different things in life and not feeling as confident and kind of hoping to get to a better situation, and to have sort of a plan in place. So I am going to be getting that. That'll be in August because the lady who's like my person, she's going on holiday. So I wait till she gets back, and then I'll go to like a meeting with them and then find out more information about this. So that I am looking forward to. Really surprised that they felt like I was kind of too much, because when I read their website, I was like, well, like these people have like serious issues that like do not compare to me at all. And obviously they felt differently. So I'm going to be, seeking the therapeutic part elsewhere, and then hopefully getting, I guess, some more social support from them. Yeah. So that's something to look forward to. So I'll definitely have an update on that. Yeah, and an update on medications, how I'm doing, everything like that. One of the really good things about seeing the doctor was that I was really unsure about my sleeping medication, because sometimes when I would take it in the morning, I would feel too tired. Like I basically couldn't get up and go to work, right? So that sort of put me off taking it every night. So then I would only take it like some nights when I felt like I really needed it. But he explained to me that it has like a 12-hour effect. So now I know that if I want it to be, worn off in time for me to get up and go to work, I have to take it at like 4:30, around that time. So that's what I'm going to start doing. I'll get home and then like take my sleeping tablets right away. And then I guess, be really tired, but still, maybe do some drawing or stuff before I actually go to bed. So that was good to find out that information. So now I can keep taking the sleeping tablets and not feel worried about if I'm going to be able to get up and go to work. So yeah, that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it was a little bit interesting, me talking about myself. Must be a bit boring for you guys, but you keep coming back for more, so I don't know what's wrong with you. But anyway, I'll see you all next time. Hey door.